Welcome back to the DJ Sessions, where we feature the best DJs, producers, and musicians from around the world. I'm your host, Darren, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington for the virtual sessions, and I have none other than the man from the mountains, Sebastian Bronk, on the other end, coming in all the way from Austria. Sebastian, how's it going today?
Thanks, Darren. It's going very, very well. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, now you're in Austria right now, but you're originally from Holland. What made you make the move? Why Austria?
So just before Corona came around, and I don't want to talk about Corona too much, but we were playing in the mountains in France, and when Corona came around, we made the move to Austria. My mother-in-law is officially from here. We were able to rent her upper stairs apartment, and we sold our house in Holland. It was very quiet and very nice over here. So that was probably the first reason to make that move. We always wanted to travel, or we always wanted to live here, but the reason why we really moved was because there were no DJ gigs. There was nothing to do in the whole freaking world. Yeah, exactly. So at that moment, it was the perfect timing to move towards Austria. Yeah.
Nice. And you have a studio set up there. You work out of your studio and producing songs. Your latest release, and I was checking it out, and I before I play a song, I look at it. I'm like, okay, I didn't put two and two with the title together until I hit play in the background. I was doing some research on it, and it's and I'm like, Night Rider. And yes. So, what was the inspiration behind that track, Night Rider?
First of all, the Pierre Paul, the guy from France I worked on the project with, he sent me over the first demo. So originally it was his idea. He covered all the MIDI parts and everything. So honestly, it was his idea to start with a cover of Night Rider, and we released it as a cover. So that means we could officially release it on Spotify, Apple Music, everything, but without having all the benefits of earning the money, because all the rights go to the right person in the end.
Yeah.
It's not a remix or something. It's a cover.
We definitely understand about all the legalities of music rights and music management that most of the world don't understand, and that could be a whole nother show talking about copyright, DMCA, synchronization. I've had those conversations a lot in 2020 when everyone decided to jump online, and they're like, how come such and such won't let me play this? Don't they make billions of dollars a year? Can't they just pay for the licensing? Shouldn't they pay for everything? That's not how this works. And the rules are there to actually protect you as a small independent person from being exploited, and also the big companies from being taken advantage of and exploited as well. Again, whole nother conversation, whole nother line of topics we can go down and talk about for an hour. Funny enough, my conversation on this got me a request from the CEO of Mixcloud. He heard about us on another podcast talking about copyright and licensing and all that fun stuff, and actually requested an interview with us. He reached out. I thought when I got the email, I thought it was a practical joke and somebody was messing with me, some spam email or something. And I followed up with it and looked him up on LinkedIn. I go, dude, the CEO of Mixcloud is requesting an interview with the DJ Sessions.
Cool.
I'm like, dang, that's cool. All right, cool.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So,
you guys doing a great job. So why not?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was interesting. So speaking of kind of having fanboy moments and stuff, going back to Night Rider, are you a fan of the show? Did you ever watch the show?
Yeah. I watched the show for a long time. Definitely. Yeah. So, that's why when Pierre Paul sent me the first demo, I was intrigued right that moment. So that's why I said, like, let's move on with this track. And I think it turned out great. Heavier than I normally did. I don't know where I'm going to. I don't know how to say that.
It's all good. Are you a fan of David Hasselhoff? I know was pretty big in Germany.
Yeah,
A while
definitely.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was more of the Baywatch time
Yeah, Baywatch time. Yeah. I mean,
for me.
gosh, what was that? 20 years ago?
I'm not that old.
I am.
I am too. I'm too. No
So,
worry, man.
how many tracks do you end up producing in a month, and actually, how many end up being released on average?
Oh, that's quite a hard question because in the first time, like if I go back to when we moved here in the beginning of the pandemic, I didn't do anything. I was out in the basement working on a water wheel, making a water wheel from wood because
Okay.
I didn't see any future in music at that moment. I saw a future in music, but I didn't see when it was coming. So I started making things from wood. I made a taco press, for instance, like doing different stuff. And
Yeah.
and then at one point I was like, I found my mojo back. I found my inspiration back. I always say, if you don't have inspiration, don't go in the studio because it's not gonna work out in the end, and it's gonna make you even more depressed about freaking music. So at one point, I started making music again. I think I make a track every week, every 2 weeks, and sometimes I'm very happy with it and I release it straight away. And sometimes I'm sitting on one track for over 2.5 years, 3 years now, maybe 4 years. And I'm gonna release it. I still love it, but I'm waiting for that right time, for that right track. It's in my special set for the DJ sessions, so it's gonna be in there. Yeah,
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
I know. But I've got now 4 or 5 tracks lined up which I want to release. But I notice also that things on Spotify, for instance, the streams are not getting what they were used to because people listening to different stuff, people working at home and listen to different kind of music, different kind of genres. So I make club music, so it needs to be played in the club as well. So I can release it now, but it doesn't have. I'm not able to play it out. So how can I promote my own music? So
That makes perfect sense. But again, we're gonna get a taste of that in that exclusive mix that you've made for the DJ sessions. Thank you for that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You mentioned a little bit about taking a break and doing some other activities, from making a water wheel to making a taco press. And one of the things that, we saw a trend over, year one, year two was, so you see this online saying, if you don't take this time to read a book, learn a new language, do something with your mind that you normally wouldn't do, break your cycle, break your pattern. If you're sitting there going, the world is coming to an end and I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to sit in my box and not learn anything new or do something new, you're missing out on a very huge opportunity in the history of the world.
Definitely.
In a history of time to take advantage of that and maybe find whether it's a new career path, a new hobby, even if you don't like it, go find some Play-Doh and start making some stuff. Go get some Legos. Go get a book. Research something. Don't just binge Netflix and sit there and do nothing. It sounds like you took advantage of the time and did something, and it created you to be inspired. Once again, it revitalized you, which is awesome. You brought that up about inspiration. And my next question was going to be, name 3 major things that create inspiration for you, that are an inspiration to you.
Yeah. I have to say, because I was running in circles from summer to winter from ADE, till WMC, and every time you were running in circles in your mind, we have to watch those live streams, or we have to attend those parties, or we have to play there and everything. And because of running in circles, and I was playing at that time, I was playing in Holland at least 4 or 5 shows a week. And at one point you're stuck. And I was making music which I didn't love. I was making music because I had to make that kind of music. And when I took that break, so boredom, is it the right word in English? Boredom, like being bored.
Burnt out, I think. Burnt
No,
out?
no,
Bored?
because
Or you
I
were
was
bored. There was no inspiration because it was just a routine. You were,
exactly.
well, I see, stagnant. I think
Yeah,
stagnant. You'd be just, I
yeah,
don't want.
and then we had to take that big break, and I was, I was getting bored of doing everything. So I was making a water wheel. We have 3 or 4 big apple trees over here, and we were taking all those apples and we brought them to a guy who make apple juice out of it.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
without sitting on freaking Netflix, or
Okay.
yeah, how you say it? I was just chilling out, having a good time. Make sure you have some savings on your bank account, or it's not able to do it. But I had time to chill, and that was my biggest inspiration, I had to say. Yeah. And then probably the moment when some clubs are started to opening up, for instance, the fact that Croatia was still on, Croatia was still open, so you could get some inspiration from those parties, from those live streams, from
Yeah.
those, and that's what it started to tickle again. You know, I was lucky to had 2 summer seasons in Greece. So that means like when everybody in Holland was still, and I don't think in Austria, but in Holland at least, everybody was still sitting inside in the studio and doing nothing. I was in the sun. I was able to play like 30 parties a summer. So that gave me a lot of inspiration as well. Because in the end, making music for people who enjoy it is the biggest inspiration. Definitely.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk with you about that because I was looking through your socials and looked like you had some fun over the last few years. Some traveling was in there. But do you ever sometimes get fed up with making and playing music? And what do you do to deal with that? It sounds like you found a creative outlet. You pick apples, make apple juice, make a taco maker. I want to know more about this taco maker, by the way.
Oh, cool. I can send you a YouTube link, man.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Everything is on YouTube. You know how it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm actually getting into my food stuff is going on TikTok right now. I make some. I can't help but not laugh at myself. I'm about doing stupid stuff, having fun with this, and so when I'm making a big meal, there's a process that goes into making a TikTok video. It's not just point and shoot and just let it record. No. So I'm like every step of the way I'm making like 5-second segments of my food, and then it throws it into TikTok and it puts a song in the background of it and goes and I just laugh my ass off.
Oh man, I should go on TikTok because I make those videos for my Insta story. I make those.
Yeah.
Last time I made a pizza video. I have a barbecue outside which is able to make pizzas, and I made like my wife was filming me when I was making the dough and everything. So I know exactly what you're saying. I love it.
And so like right now, if the DJ sessions on TikTok is brand new, but if you go there, it's just straight up me making cooking videos. No DJ, no interviews, no info there.
I have to say that sushi is pre-ordered. I'm not allowing that, man. I think you should make your own sushi, or else it's not able to put it on there.
I just had sushi last night for dinner with some.
I saw that.
Oh, the miso soup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good. I just grabbed those as kind of a little side appetizer. It was the miso soup. Oh man. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's start. Now you got into my foodie side of things. You're interviewing me. I'm telling you what's going on.
I'm here, man.
I got questions for you on that later on, but I'll tell you about the miso soup. You know what? We'll get into miso soup. If I don't tell you what was in the miso soup, we'll definitely get into it later in the interview. I can go foodie on you all day long.
Cool. Let's go.
But yeah, when do you get fed up making and playing music, and what do you do to deal with that?
Not anymore, because the reason why we moved is because it's more quiet over here and more chilled. So I have more time to work on stuff and make it better, and I'm quite a perfectionist, so I want to do everything right, but also I'm not able to go to Holland, for instance, where I had a lot of shows for a stupid show. And I don't want to talk about money, or I don't want to talk about how big a show must be, because a show for 10 people could be the best show of your life. But there are some shows who are coming back every month or every week, which gets you in that state you don't gonna like it anymore. Or because the crowd is not what you expect it to be. And because I live now in Austria instead of Holland, there is a big, how do you call it, bump? Hurdle.
Hurdle.
Yeah. To get from Austria to Holland. So that means you're only going to pick the good things and the things which make you happy. And people online always brag about, I'm only doing things I love and stuff. I'm only doing things I love. And that's why I'm in a different mindset than 2 years ago. I think that's it.
I can relate to that. 3 years ago, 5 years ago, I made a major life change and kind of said, this is the direction. I'm doing this, and it's in this order, and this is going to happen. And that's where my manifest went towards. Part of one of those that I wasn't knowledgeable about 5 years ago at the time was the environment and the scene that I was putting myself in that was draining me, and I wasn't being reciprocated back for my efforts. And how I was dealing with that. I literally just had a conversation with one of my resident DJs, Jen Jiggity, who goes by DJ Spitfire, last night. And she's known me for probably almost 25, 30 years. We've been friends for 25, 30 years, longer than anyone like that I've grown up with, basically. And, you know, she's noticed a major transformation of where I was 3 years ago when I did an exodus from a certain environment, even before that, but getting out of that was a mental hurdle. It was a hurdle that was kind of holding me back. So once you got to look and choose where you want to be, where your energies are going to come from, and then decide what your pathway is going to move forward. I'm not going to deal with that, or I'm not going to deal with that. I'm involved over here, and making sure you have that can be an inspiration to itself, that you're getting the right kind of energy or the right kind of feedback. Or surrounding yourself with the right people is huge, especially for growth and progression. You know, I just don't hang around with like people like that anymore. And I look more towards a bigger international vision. And, you know, the more I go international, the more I talk with people. And when I say international, it doesn't mean that I'm not focusing on the States, you know, or talking to people in the States or that are in North America. It's, as I get out of the bubble of this environment I was placing myself in, there's so much more out there in the world. We were talking a little about that before the show, and I was giving a little bit of the plans on the DJ sessions and what we're looking to do. And it's going to be awesome. So I'm glad you have that inspiration. That's definitely a solid foundation to start building off of. And
what I wanted to say as well, I think, and that's probably, well, people will say, oh, that's easy to say, or, you know, but I'm not making decisions based on money. Based on a feeling is it's much more honest. It's much more nice to make the decision, because if you make something on your feeling, from your heart, you will end up where you have to be, instead of I'm making this decision because of I'm earning that much money, or because I need that much money. It's going wrong in the end. It's not gonna make you a happy person.
I came up with the saying of, it was a few years back, and I was going through some stuff, and I was thinking, like, if somebody wanted to, you know, speak poorly of me and what I was doing. And it's like, I'm a big video game player. I like strategy games. I play chess. You see, I kind of play both sides against you. Like if I had a chessboard, I'd play myself in chess, and I'd be both the black and white and try to outthink myself on the chessboard. So sometimes I think about these things, and I was thinking, you know, I used to say this a long time ago, that if I tried to stop what I was doing, like if I threw in the towel and said, I'm not doing the DJ sessions anymore, I'm over this, I'm done. I'd probably have so many people coming to me saying, what are you doing? Stop this. You're not going to stop. You're having a bad day. get back in the saddle, get back in there. You're going to make this happen. But I realized that over the time, doing something for so long, you go based off that faith, you go based off that feeling. And if somebody said, why does he do this? He's not even getting really paid to do this. Mm-hmm. So what's his angle? Like, is he crazy? Because I wouldn't do something for 10 years and not make any money off of it or not make a dime. So the passion behind it almost turns into what could be considered faith, which could be tantamount or parallel to, in a sense, religion. You believe in it so strongly that you're just you're a passion. I would say it'd be like somebody being a religious follower or, a follower in a faith that they believe in so much of this. And it's just, you go with the flow, you go with it. And if your faith is about getting money, there's a very beautiful philosopher I love, Alan Watts. I don't know if you know Alan Watts. Yeah. And, if you go after the money, you're missing the whole point. Go after what makes you happy and the money will follow. I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit, but it'll follow and you'll be able to gravitate towards the right people. And if you become good at what you do, then yes, you can charge a fee for it and possibly make a living because people need services and people need to know about these things. So, Alan Watts, What Do I Desire? I always try to give a plug to that. Love that. Listen to it once a year. But, it's great that you've been, I don't know if it's re-inspired, but inspired once again.
Definitely re-inspired. Also, like genre-wise, I was a little bit in that whole, I don't think it's a dirty word, but I was a little bit in that EDM bubble.
It's okay.
I came strongly from a house. I grew up with house as a DJ. So the Dennis Ferrer remix of The Cure in the Cause. Hey, Dennis Ferrer, again, Dennis Ferrer. The whole Defected, some Dutch DJs, Roog and Eric E. Those guys inspired me when I started DJing in 2008. So what I have to say, what I mean by that, I was able to go back from house to EDM to bass house, and now I'm back at the house part, which I love. I'm making music I enjoy with a little bit of tech house influences, which is popular at the moment, but it still reflects to that house sound I started with. So for me, the whole circle is round again.
I think that's great for you to have realized that you've been on that journey and be able to take a look back at it and go, yeah, I kind of went this way. And then I kind of went this. And then I kind of realized I went a little commercial and someone could call it, you sold out, and it's like, hey, maybe because you felt that was right. And now you'd be able to come back. At least it didn't burn you out or bring you down so far. You're like, you know what? I'm out. I'm going to get a day job and have a nice day. Yeah. And maybe once in a while you might DJ with some friends and like, I went.
No. That was never the plan. That was never the plan.
So I managed to catch some pictures of your studio. It looks like you have a very minimal setup for your studio. If you could advise, I saw some speakers sitting up there. I know we're switching topics just a little bit here, but you'll see.
No worry. Go on.
I saw some monitor speakers. What kind of monitor speakers do you use in your studio?
They are the DIN Audio BM2. I think BA2, probably BM or BA. At least DIN Audio. I have them for a long time. I have a studio of 6 square meters, so that's very small. I also have a subwoofer on the bottom, but it's not able to, the sub frequency is not able to travel. So what I do to know if I have enough sub, I listen to the IKEA halogen lamps, which started to tremble. So then I know I have enough sub, and I put my toes in the hole of the subwoofer, and if I feel enough cold air, I'm good to go. That's my sub bass hack. But I started off in the studio with a lot of analog gear and and I'm probably back to 2 speakers, a subwoofer, and a good gear. Now, how do you call it? A sound card, Apollo Twin, which is a good one. I had one with 16 stereo lines and analog gear and stuff, and I sold everything. I have one thing left, which I was not able to sell in the Netherlands, so I had to sell it because I'm not using it. And I think your question, or your first idea about this question was, do you have any tips for producers who are coming up? Don't buy too much shit, because make the music. You can. I saw John Summit saying he was using an Ableton freaking plugin, and it sounds better than a bot serum. You know what I mean? What I'm saying about that is you can make every sound with the basic things. And as I started off and telling myself, I need everything, and I'm gonna spend a lot of money on analog gear because it sounds harder and sounds better. It's just a lie. It's just a freaking lie, because you have to put the work in it. Those machines, you have to put the work in as well, because if you don't understand the machines, the sound is still horrible. So I think that's a biggie. I think that's a biggie.
And just for our audience, he has no insight to the questions that I'm asking him right now, because I don't know if you have some secret camera that's watching me and looking at my notes right now, but I was just going to ask you if you could give one production tip insight to new producers out there, what would that be? I hadn't asked you that question yet. You knew it was coming up and you just answered it.
I'm doing interviews also a little bit longer than 2 years. I'm also in the scene since 2008, so I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Also, a big tip is, I think, build things yourself in your studio. So my studio table, I made it myself.
Okay.
And that was before the pandemic, before I had time to do this. I made it just from IKEA countertops, and just make something yourself where you can be proud of. So when somebody else joins me in the studio and you're like, hey, oh, that looks cool. Yeah, I made it myself. And put the effort also in that kind of stuff. Don't only think about the whole musical stuff, but also the environment where you're sitting needs to be a place where you're happy. I think that's
absolutely. And you know, I think, you know, one of the biggest things for me over time and putting myself in the zone, as what you're calling that, would be, you know, looking at what the outside influences I had that were going on. Mm-hmm. And if I had, say I was doing everything from home, which right now a lot of us are. I'm in my home studio right now, doing stuff. But if I had an unstable home life, I might not want to sit down at the computer. Or if let's say somebody is bringing negative energy around me in my home, you know, I'm going to be so drained over there that I'm not going to be able to do this here. Or if I am doing this here, I'm not going to be on 100%. I might be operating at 90% or 70%. You know, and I want to make sure you're giving it your all. So having that zen, having that zone space is definitely a key element. I think, and I, you know, I've lived on my own now. I used to have roommates and stuff, and you know, if we were doing this interview, I'd be like, okay, you got to stay in your bedroom for an hour and a half.
Yeah, but
you can't. Don't come out. Don't talk to me. Don't say anything. You know,
don't live.
Don't live. And then it's like, okay, and then they're all, you know, gaming or doing whatever, you know, and it's just like, I like to have my own free. I'm a minimalist when it comes to like interior design. So I need my space to move around and do my stuff. And I can't live in a cluttered environment. And, you know, I'm moving into a new space here, hopefully in 6 months, which will be like, yeah, cool. I'll invite you if you come to the States. You'll love it.
I would love to come over, man. Really.
But definitely have to have that Zen environment when doing things. Switching gears up just a little bit here. Strictly Bronk Radio. Tell us all about that. Is that still in effect?
That's a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If I remember good, 2018 was the last episode.
Okay.
for now. I was working on something new in the pandemic, but I was not able to. I was not ready to put out a new mix. First of all, because I'm competing in one way or another with all the radio shows, from SiriusXM till all the Dutch radio shows and everything, where it's easier probably for guys like let's say David Guetta or Chesto or to get airplay and to get streams. So I found myself on a place where I put something on SoundCloud and get a few views, streams, whatever you want. And it didn't give me the satisfaction where I was working for, because if I'm doing a Strictly Bronk, I want to put, for instance, 60 tracks in an hour with my own mashups and with my own stuff. And that's, so if I put so much effort in something, I want to have enough audience to experience that. And if they're not there because they are eaten by, for instance, David Guetta playing on a Heli platform on in Dubai, then I rather make music by myself to put that out instead of making a mixtape, which is like, okay. So
I'm glad you brought that up, because, you know, after live streaming for the last 12 years, podcasting for the last 17 years, broadcast television, executive produced broadcast television shows, public access before that. When you look at the distribution medium and, you know, how do you set yourself apart from others? How do you not get lost in the mix, you know, and keep going? Especially 2 years ago, when, you know, we were actually made a featured partner DJ show, one of the first featured partner DJ shows with Twitch in 2018. And this is right after I came out of my epiphany I was telling you about in 2017 of getting everything lined up and ready to go. And I got on the phone and say, we love you. Let's get you here. You're doing this. In 2018, we were not ready as a brand to go to the front page of Twitch. I had zero on a website. I had zero on the social. I mean, we had social account. We had things set up, but nowhere ready to be in put in the limelight like that on the front page of Twitch. So I kind of sat on things for a while, and other people started to find the medium. And I sat on things in 2019. We were producing shows, but we came back and it was late 19. And I said, hey, let's do this. And I'm in talks with Twitch. I'm like ready to go to the front page. They're like, oh, you got to take care of all your licensing and stuff because this and that and the other. And I'm like, okay, cool. We started knocking on the doors and saying, okay, I can wait through 2020. This is going to be okay. No, you know, we still got time, resting on our laurels. Lo and behold, March comes around, April comes around, mid-April, everybody is live streaming. And we're talking from the brand new to the top dog. And what I talked about people with this and watching the trend in live streaming, or even podcasting, or even YouTubing, or whatever it is, even social media, how it kind of clicks on it. There's a curve, and it goes like this and starts to rise up. Well, with live streaming, it went boop, boom, and it went like this. And no matter where you were at, you were stuck there. Yeah. Because the whole audience of everyone looking online, you couldn't gain traction in there. And those that were at the top who had social media go, ooh, I got 500,000 people. I got 2 million people. Look at my live stream. Boo. Exactly. Insomniac and the big companies, look at our live streams. They got the money to throw into that. And you got lost in the mix. And what the word was, and I told people this was bound to happen, the disenfranchisation of them thinking, I'm going to make an online channel because there's no nightclubs open. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to tell my fans. And they go on to their social media. They had no strategy. They had no plan. They had no rollout. They had no PR. They had no marketing. They just, I can go make this free channel. I can do what I want to do. And I encourage that to people. Please release, keep that outlet going. Don't stop. But the reality of it needing to sink in is, okay, I'm telling everyone to watch me, but so is the rest of the world. Exactly. The world at the same exact time is saying, watch me. And a viewer can only watch one show at a time.
It's precious. It's precious time, man.
And how do you capture that? And I watched everyone. I mean, the phone calls were coming in. How do I get cameras? What cameras do I use? How do I get around copyright? What lighting? And I saw them all go. And now they're in what I call the green screen phase, which is what we went through. Our first year was cameras, lights, camera, action. And then it was like, oh, let me throw this green screen in so there's visuals in the background.
Yeah.
And it looks cool. And now they're with the one camera and the visuals in the background, and they got all the overlays on the screen. And I thought, all right, that's cool. You do your thing. I'm not knocking anyone's production quality, but we've been through those cycles. I've seen those trends and seen what happened. And now it was 2 years ago, I was predicting to people that while we saw a 60 to 80% jump in online content creation in that world, and a 60 to 80% jump in content consumption, when things start to open back up, you're going to see that number drop significantly.
Definitely.
And its content production is going to drop along with content consumption, because people are going to be PTSD'd. They're going to have, from sitting in front of a computer. I don't want to watch this stuff in front of a computer anymore. I want to go see it in a nightclub.
I want to go
travel.
I want to smell it. I want to feel it.
I want to feel exactly. So you're seeing that happen right now. Companies, the streaming companies, their platform, their subscriber base is going down. Because people are getting back to work. They're not working from home anymore,
Exactly.
And I predicted, and I knew this, and it's like, wherever you were going to stay. And a lot of people expected that instant gratification turnaround, not even understanding how social media works. And that, you can tell all your friends on Facebook, but Facebook only lets it see 2 to 5% of your friends list. If they see it, if they're doing something and they happen to catch it right at that right time.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're basically just throwing, it'd be the equivalent of like taking 10,000 flyers and throwing them out on the street, driving down the road.
Hopefully 5 people
look down. 5 people pick it up. And even if they pick it up, you have no call to action to make them. Okay, so you're throwing 10,000 flyers out. Well, guess what? They're throwing 100,000 flyers out. And I want to be in the room where everyone's chatting and being cool. Maybe I can get in that. Maybe that celebrity will give me a shout out if I'm in the chat room. Where if I'm over in here, it's like, it's cool, bro. I'm watching your show, but I'm also missing out over here. So you have to plan your timing right. And we look at this severely. I could go off on this for a million years. But that self-gratification and what you were saying right there is a key thing. Like, what am I going up against? What am I trying to compete against? Would it be better for me to start my own radio show, for you, or make a track and possibly get that track in the right hands and play it on one of these radio shows?
Exactly.
And I think that's a very good strategy.
And also the moment I quitted with the Strictly Bronk, I think that was the moment I was stuck also in the music I want to make, and the music I was putting out was not who I was. And that was a transition also towards, I'm happy to put out a mix now with the music I made lately, which I'm proud of, which I feel good about. So next to maybe at the moment now, I'm happier to put a mix out because I enjoy the music more, but also because I don't mind if 5 or 10 people listen to it. If it's our 5, I'm happy with those 5 people. And that's also a thing. Like it's a mindset which changed over the last 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it sounds like you kind of had a paradigm shift in 18. I had a paradigm shift in 18. Definitely a huge paradigm shift in the last couple of years. The one thing I take away from it is like, all I ever wanted people to do was to recognize the platform of what we were doing as a tangible, it wasn't just like, oh, nobody's watching that, nobody's doing that. That's for geeks and nerds, and you're streaming live and blah, blah. And like, well, now we're actually validated that this is a medium that's not going to go anywhere. What we're doing next, what we have rolling out, we'll talk about this in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not just focused on a live. If people think I'm just about a live streaming show, like we were talking a little bit before the show.
Yeah.
I gave you a tip of the iceberg. We're getting some stuff in just a few moments, but we're setting out those goals for the next 10, the next 15 years.
Yeah.
I have a saying right now. I talk with my friends. I go, if you look back in your life, who were you hanging out with 5 years ago? What were you doing 5 years ago? What were you doing 10 years ago? How about 15 years ago? How about 20 years ago? And if you're still stuck in an environment, you've been there for 20 years, you've never grown out of the environment for 20 years. When you go to the old folks' home, all you're gonna say is, "Oh, weren't those the good times in those 20?" And those might have been the most best years of your life. Awesome. But if you were growing, go, wow, you look back, I don't get an opportunity really to just go, whoa, we did all that, you know what?
Exactly.
It's always moving forward and looking forward and moving on. I have to think 5 to 10, 15, even maybe sometimes 30, 40 years out of what I'm doing today. Because I probably won't be doing this forever. I want to get to doing my job of being the executive producer, but having a team, having a brand. At one point, I used to say, I want to be the first DJ show on Mars.
Okay, let's go.
You know? Like, all right, let's go. Right?
Yeah,
like,
why not?
Cool. I want to be the first live streaming DJ show on Mars because they're going to put all the famous ones up there. But I'm like, okay, what all of the staff, the people who manage the station, all of them want to be DJs. Who's going to do the show for them? And we'll be doing the show for them and make them underground sensations online live coming from Mars. I mean, it sounds crazy, but when you think about future forward thinking, you got to think further out, you know? So anyways, I could go on that for a million years too.
Cool, man. Yeah, cool.
Speaking of shows, you know, you kind of took a sabbatical from yours, it sounds like. What are the top 3 shows that you follow or listen to, live streams, radio shows, podcasts that you listen to right now? You would suggest to the DJ Sessions fans?
That's a hard one because of I think because I listen to a lot of country music.
Really?
Yeah.
Like American country, US country music?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Not because I was inspired to it, because I was not able to get the music in my head because it reminded me of work instantly. And so I listened to Sade or Sade, how you say that?
Sade.
Like, yeah, the slow stuff. I listened to some podcasts, but I was not really into that whole I have to listen to the music at the moment. When I started getting inspired and getting more into the music again, the fact that in the house, the fact that radio is something I'm always been a fan of and still am. And Diplo and Carnage, aka Gordo, are always 2 guys I really love to. So those 2 Americans, Carnage and Diplo, were for me like I think Diplo has been a pioneer forever. So I've been listening to him for a long time, and the transition which Gordo made from Carnage, from the real hard stuff to playing some nice tech house. Yeah. I think those 3 changed my whole way of thinking again. Yeah.
I recently just caught Diplo at his show. He was here in Seattle not too long ago. And and all my DJs know when they drop a track and they're in a show and I start dancing to it, they're like, okay, Darren's danced to it. I know to drop this. He's going to be a happy producer, happy show. Yeah. And, you know, that one song he does, maybe you've seen the video to it. They did it for Adult Swim. Music on my mind. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'm not a vocalist. I just lose my shit when I hear that song. I mean, I just love it. And so, and for some reason, I don't know why. I should have known Diplo produced that track. I should have known. But I'm at the show and I'm sitting there and we're rocking out. I'm up in this nice like VIP terrace tier looking over the whole crowd. And all of a sudden he drops that track and I just lose my fucking mind. Like lose my mind. I'm like, wow. You know, and, I mean, I just love his style and what he does and produces and what he makes. And hopefully one day we'll get him on the show. He's in our targets.
You will.
Get him.
You will.
You know, it'll be awesome stuff.
Maybe you can go to Mars together with him.
Yeah, definitely with Elon. Elon, if you're listening, if you're watching, put Diplo and I let's do a live stream on the way to Mars, and then let us land, and we'll do Diplo from Mars. Diplo the DJ session.
Mars. Diplo from Mars.
Diplo from Mars. You know, if you could pick a favorite DJ, who would that be? And tell us why.
Favorite DJ. I'm coming back to Diplo straight away, but I was on a festival a few years ago and I saw Skrillex and Diplo playing together as JQ.
Okay.
I saw that once. I hope they will come back together one day. But I think that was one of the highlights of that festival for me.
What festival was that?
It was in Austria, but I was there because friends of mine had to play there, and we were visiting my mother-in-law. So we traveled to the festival. We were not living here yet, so it was Electric Love in Salzburg. It was quite big, and so Jack Hugh was one of my favorite DJ sets. I think Skrillex, although he's an awesome producer, I think his DJ sets are so full of energy. I'm not a dubstep guy, but if I have to admire somebody who brings the energy, he's one of those guys, definitely. Ooh, I think I go in that direction again. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have some Dutch guys in there, but I think you have to be somewhere like those guys. They made it to a certain point, and it's not because of only one reason, but it's because of they are also great DJs and build attention and that. So I will say Skrillex.
Yeah, and you mentioned Skrillex not only for his DJing skills, but also from a producer standpoint. Mm-hmm. You're running 5 different labels right now. What are the names of those 5 labels, and why 5 labels?
So I'm doing Goons music. Goons is crazy, and that's how it started off. It was a purely in the beginning. It was all multiple genres and do whatever we like. And now it's more house, tech house. Also in the sound of what it is right now. I think we have in totally released 175 tracks or 180, something like that. So that's good. So Goons music is my little child, and yeah, I'm very happy to do that. Next to that, I'm doing with a good friend of mine, Green Tree, Danny, who was in the beginning, he was Dirt Caps. Together with them, with Dirt Caps, we created Clash Records. Then Dirt Caps quit it, and Green Tree, Danny went on with the label, and I jumped in there because I'm also good at the back end of the label part. Now we're doing another label. It's called Banana Whale. It's already started. It's more on the housey kind of side. And then I'm starting off. The first release needs to come, I think, in the middle of March. It's called Whack. It's a techno label. It's purely techno, and it can go from 124 till 140, all genres, acid to the floating stuff, everything. And I'm doing with a guy from Holland. I'm doing Lucha Libre Records, and that's more Latin house.
Okay.
So more the Latin vibes. He's the face of one of the biggest Latin festivals in Holland. I think they do 30,000 people a day. So, or maybe more, but it's the biggest Latin weekender in Holland. So, and I think also in the middle of March we will release the first track. So, I'm only A&Ring for one label, but or maybe 2, the techno label. I'm gonna also be involved in the whole A&R situation. But I love that kind of stuff. So don't focus on one thing, but also to do multiple genres and different labels and release stuff. Especially with Goons music, I focus a lot on upcoming artists. So we've been a starting point for a lot of DJs who release now at Hell Deep from Oliver Heldens, at Somniac, who release on Chami's label Confession. Those guys had their first release on Goons.
Wow, nice. And you know what's awesome is you mentioned Green Tree.
Mm-hmm.
I got him in my DMs. We're supposed to get him on the show here soon.
Good.
He's some
Get him
awesome
on there,
stuff.
man.
Yeah, so that's great because we're also looking. I mean, it'll be a whole new thing for us to venture into, but we're working with a team out of the UK to start our own label as well. And I think, being able to do that, it's going to be a whole nother division to the company of what we're doing. I know it's going to be a whole nother beast, and I'm going to be new to that. But I'm probably going to delegate that off to somebody who's knows, hey, I know how to run labels. I know what's going on. Finding the right partnership, that's going to be crucial for it. But I think I liked what you said is you're looking for the unknown artists. You're looking for people out there that are looking to be on a label, looking to get out there. And, hopefully as our brand, as our strength grows, we can say, oh, this is the DJ session. You came to our website. It's funny, again, thinking about that future forward, that 5 years down the road. People don't know. I already had it designed in our website to have a full album release, radio player. Everything's already built into it with the dev team. Literally, I could go, okay, guess what? We have 20 artists ready to go to drop tracks. Here's the store, here's the track list, and here's the radio player that plays throughout the site. Only tracks of our artists that are signed to our label. Exactly. When you're going through the site, and then you can go, oh, I want to buy that track, and it's our site already has that already put into play, which is just amazing. For that next progression, you got to think future forward. I don't want to get 5 years down the road and go, oh, I want to make a label, and then I got to build a whole new website. I got to do a whole new brand for it, change the name of it. All that's like, no, we're going
be ready.
And then we can start also promoting these DJs through our shows and online. I think how the whole marketing aspect of that goes. But it's awesome that you're working with independent artists or big people that are starting out.
No,
it's known people as well.
It started in the beginning because I had to put out my own music and I was sick and tired of waiting on other people. So that at that moment, I was able to release my own music whenever I wanted. That's where it started. And that growth from one label to 170 releases on one label with a lot of my own releases as well. And then people saw what I was doing and liked it. And because I'm also quite a nerd, I was able to do the back end of the label quite well. So that's why they involved me in that whole situation. And I think the back end of the label is very important because the artist needs to understand when everything's coming and the communication is a very important thing, especially for artists, I think.
Absolutely. It's so fun. You hit a soft spot with me when you said I was waiting for labels to pick up my stuff and put me out there. And then I said, forget it. I'll just start my own label and put my own stuff out there. I can release it when I want to release it. I control it. It takes me back 21 years ago when I made my first short. I had an idea that I wanted to make a television show and put it on broadcast television. I'd come out of 8 years of working in public access, and it had its limitations. No YouTube, no online video, no podcasting, no video iPods, no in-your-pocket iPhones, none of this crap. I mean, I'm sorry, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. We had to make it. And so I had the name for my show, Phantasmagoria. I had no idea what the show was going to be about. And when I went to college for a business degree, I took a Final Cut Pro class, an editing class. And in the class, they had us make he wanted us to make a small film, like a minute or two long. Now, I had already had 10 years of doing stuff. So I'm like, I got a great idea for a movie. And I made this movie called I made this short film called Metamorphosis. It was pretty cool. I won't get into that. But when I had this movie, it's sitting there. I wanted to enter it into film festivals. But I also had this idea for a television show. And I was entering into film festivals. And we ended up taking an award from a local film festival. It was kind of cool. But then I got the idea for my TV show. And what we were going to do is we were going to feature short films by independent producers and put them on broadcast television. Yeah. And I said, I already got the first episode in the can. I'll put my movie in there. And I had 28 minutes to fill. An interview with me maybe would be 4 minutes. My movie was only 10 and a half minutes long. So I'm like, what am I going to do with the other 15 minutes? And I said, I'm in film class right now. I'm in this film class. Why don't I get other films from other students? And then I reached out to some organizations and I started getting films from independent producers that were submitted. Because if I took one of these films and I put it on my broadcast show, at the time it went on, even though it went on at 1:30 in the morning, it would still be seen by 10,000 to 20,000 people in the region. Whereas if you got into a film festival and you got winning and you got put into a theater, you might be seen by 100 people at that film festival.
Yeah.
And that was just that one time it played and it never was ever again. And here I am being able to take these short films and put them out to 15, 20,000 people in one viewing. And I was like, I got a new hit show. And we went with Phantasmagoria, which later became ITV. But it just reminded me of how do I self-distribut and not wait. Because I wanted my show picked up by the studios and I'm knocking on doors. And like, nope. I'm like, well, why don't I just make my own show and put it on the air? And that kind of started the whole Phantasmagoria to ITV Live to the DJ sessions, which is actually the DJ sessions is an offshoot of like 13 different online genres of shows that I have. I just decided to run with the DJ session and leave all the other ones. Yeah. And I can still always go back and start saying, okay, guess what? We got a bunch of money now. Let's go back and start producing live music. Let's go back and start doing fashion. Let's go back and start doing art. Let's go start doing restaurants and comedy and video games and boom, underneath the umbrella of everything. I just understand about, like I said, it hit a nerve. And I love those inspirational stories that you just said, you didn't just wait for somebody to make your dreams come true. You took the reins and said, fuck it, I'm making my dreams come true.
I'm doing it myself. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but you have to do it. And yes, I would love to release on those labels. But I believe when you create your own success, or like I'm listening or re-listening to every single demo of the what comes in on the label. I think that's very important because those people want to get heard. You were knocking on doors, nobody answered. At least I'm answering to those people. I'm sorry, I'm not looking for this kind of music, or this is not our style, or it's just not good enough, or I don't like it. At least I'm saying that to the person. That's better than, and I understand some labels get 100,000 emails per month. But yeah, I'm sorry, you're famous.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, that's what, honestly, I had in my first go round when it was ITV, and I had a little mini breakdown, or not a breakdown, but like a moment of truth, clarity, the stress and anxiety of, I was sitting there watching all these short films and I was cataloging and putting them into a database and choosing what was going to go on my show and what wasn't going to go on my show. And some of these films were awesome. I mean, really well produced. Some of them were garbage. It's like, okay, this would never make, I wouldn't say garbage. When I say, here's what I had to realize. Cause I had to stop. I was getting like heart palpitation. I was like stressed out. And I said, who am I to decide what is good and what is bad?
It's a matter of taste. Number
one. Number two, I said, I felt really bad because here I have to send rejection letters off to people saying, sorry, your submission didn't make it, or sorry, this. And to an up and coming person, how are they going to take that and go, well, I keep submitting, and people said no. And the one person I got, and I've been there before when I was pitching business plans to venture capital companies, and 41 out of 42 of them said no, but I just kept going. But the 42nd one came back and said, well, we like it, but you're not asking for enough money. And I'm like, so I'm still getting a freaking no, but it didn't make me stop. But who was I to do all that? Who was I to where were my credentials? What gave me the right? And what came down to, I had to look at it from this perspective. And it wasn't about money, but it was like, what is my audience going to enjoy? Take me out of the equation. Is the audience going to enjoy this? And it's going to keep them coming back next week to see what's going to air next week. And it's going to get them talking about it with their friends. And it's going to be engaging. Is it going to do that? And if it doesn't do that from an executive producer's decision, I can't take that film in. I can't put that there. Unfortunately, and we only had a finite amount of time. Once YouTube opened up to the world and everyone could kind of self-distribute their film and stuff, it kind of was like, now what do we do to find that compelling that stuff, which is still, there's still tons of outlets and distribution mediums out there, but yeah, it's kind of doing it on, creating it on your own and putting it out there. It's just do it. Nowadays, the technology is there to do it. And I think you might have you were leaning towards this a little bit. What you'll learn by doing it on your own will give you more insight on how the industry actually works, makes you a more valuable player in the game by going, oh, I've researched this. It's not just this blank door. You're like, I never thought about that. I never thought about that. And I never would have thought about that had they not gone out there and done it on their own. Yeah. Contract negotiation, DMCA, everything. All the stuff. And when you go talk to somebody, like, wow, I got this wealth of information because I went out and did it on my own. I didn't just wait for somebody to hand it to me, which usually never happens in the first place. No, everyone works hard.
Exactly. If you don't work hard, stay home.
Stay home. Yeah. I mean, but again, another topic I could talk about for years and years.
I understand, man.
Switching gears here, just once again, I was on your socials, and you on your socials, it looked like you went from tropical locations to the mountains. What prompted the change of scenery? What was going on there a little bit? You touched a little bit about it earlier in the show. And before you answer that, I know, just hold that question. Wherever you're sitting right now, I swear, viewers, we are not putting on effects. We don't edit or do anything, but it's so cool. You're sitting in front of your computer. You have a background on you, but the screen from your computer is blue. And every time you move back and forth on the wall, it looks like you've got this awesome purple halo of glowing, like
freaking awesome.
Glowing. It's awesome.
It fits your logo, man. The blue.
Well, it actually is the color of our logos on your end, on your screen, but it's so cool. Like, he's like coming in out. It looks like you have this awesome purple aura around you. And I'm like, is that my lighting? Because it's so bright in my studio. I keep having to kind of adjust my eyes and go, what's going on?
It's my kitchen, man. And because of the studio Wi-Fi was not working as promised, so I had to run back to the kitchen. Now about the whole Instagram question, or socials question. Like last year, I posted a lot of throwbacks because I wanted to keep relevant, or at least I wanted to keep going. But in the summer, I was lucky enough to had 2 summers of Star Beach, where we at least did in between 15 and 30 shows in 2 months. So that was the whole summer experience. And it's not a tropical island, but it's an island in Greece. It's called Star Beach, where we play. And like in the bigger years when there was no pandemic and everything, guys like Armin and Martin Garrix, Stevie Aoki, those guys also performed there. Hardwell in his when he was still playing, I think Afrojack started playing on the island. He was going from bar to bar to ask if he was able to play, please, and that kind of stuff. And in the end, the owner of Star Beach, where I play for, give him the chance to play. So that's quite awesome. And Hardwell was coming there also from 16 or 18 years old. So it's a great place. It's always nice weather. They're great people. So in the summer, I'm a lot. You can find me a lot in Greece. And now in the winter, I live in Austria. So I go out skiing, hiking, mountain biking a lot. I love to be outside. It's awesome, which gives also a great inspiration. The silence, that's freaking awesome. It sounds like you live in an area that's similar to the Seattle zone. We get all 4 seasons here. The mountains are less than an hour away. We got mountains. I mean, we can go skiing, snowboarding, all that fun stuff in the mountains. We have an ocean climate, so we have some beaches. It's not white sandy beaches and like tropical beaches, but we have the 4 seasons here, which is awesome, really awesome, and it's very green here. We're kind of in that zone where we get a lot of water dropping on us before, it drops before the mountains and it drops before the mountains again. We get the tail end of it. So you hear a lot of people saying it rains a lot in Seattle. Water comes from the sky a lot in Seattle.
there's many different variations on what that water looks like when it comes down. No, it sounds like a very beautiful area to be in. And again, you're there and you're getting that revitalization of silence, I think was the key word I take from it, where you're just hearing nature. You know, you just hear and it isn't thump, 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 go, 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 city, city, city all the time. You know, I need some more of that nature.
Myself. You have to go out, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring your green screen and put it in the mountains.
Speaking of green screen and doing stuff in the mountains, I think we're going to head into that topic right now.
You already said a few times, I speak. The tip of the iceberg, you said it a few times. So I think we're ready for it.
Yeah, I think we're ready for it. You know, we're talking about your socials and a picture that was on your social recently. You were out there shoveling some snow. Definitely. And, you know, there were some hints and allegations as to what was going on with that. Tell our DJ Sessions viewers what you were doing out there shoveling some of that snow.
So I was on top of a mountain. It's the gondolas come into a platform. Let's say it like that. All the gondolas to bring you up to that mountain. And on top of that platform, I was shoveling snow to prepare my DJ Sessions live set. And it was live, of course, but we had to record it because with all the time differences and there was, I believe there was not even Wi-Fi on top of there. It was 2,400 meters high.
That's about 7,200 feet.
I believe.
Maybe 7,500 when you add in everything.
Yeah. So I recorded the set and I had to shovel the snow the day before we recording the set because we were recording it on sunset. No sun. How you say that? Sunrise. So we had to remove all the snow and make a place for the DJ set and everything the day before. And the next morning at 5 o'clock, we had to wake up. We had the ski resort opened up the elevators, the gondolas early in the morning for us. So we could bring everything up to the mountain and prepare everything before the sunrise. So the first note of the sets, the first tune is played exactly at sunrise.
I am watching the small little video that you made right now on your Instagram, and because I saw a teaser, and when I saw it, I was like, I didn't know how you were getting up there in the mountain. How did you get that gear up there?
So we were lucky enough that we had the ski resort. We were able to have people from them to help us out. I think they had 8 or 10 people helping us to bring everything up, to prepare everything. They had to open everything earlier for us or else we were too late for the sunrise. So it's called the Silfretta Montafon.
Okay.
And the ski resort was very happy to help out with everything, and we had to hire some gear and everything. But freaking awesome.
I mean, I was like, when I saw it, I didn't know what to expect. This is awesome. Yeah. Please give my thanks to the crew there, to the team there on site, and also Katharina for helping arrange all this and set it up. There was a question I had, but yeah. Oh, please make sure that you get me the information on the result. I'd love to give them a shout out and tag the location for the live mix because it's going to be awesome. We're going to air this. I can't wait to see it. Exclusive mix, Sebastian Bronk coming to you. Now, is that part of, forgive me for not knowing my European mountain ranges more than I should. Is that part of the Alps?
Yes,
it is part of the Alps. Okay, yes. So this is the first for us. This is so awesome. I mean, usually it's
and we're gonna we recorded everything with 8 cameras. Some cameras died on us during the so the drone broke down somewhere because it was too cold. Because it was freaking cold.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Can you imagine sunrise in the Alps? I think it was -5 or something like that.
This is going down as one of the top 3 production effort sets ever in the history of the DJ sessions.
Yeah, I hope so.
Ever. This is awesome.
And I think so. The girl from the resort is helping us now. Frederica, she's helping us now to make everything. How you say that? To edit all the parts. So I made the whole edit already on timing, and she's gonna make the edit visualize. We're gonna also make some nice pointers. What mountains are behind? So like we're also gonna make some animations in there as well. We're trying.
I cannot wait to see this.
We're trying.
Oh my God, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good timing. This is coming out that we're working together. We made this there because we just actually took number 4 on Twitch Music the other day. And it's funny because it was actually done during one of my DJ debuts.
Yeah.
I'm not a DJ. I just play one on TV. It's kind of a parody thing. I'm known as the DJ Sessions.
Yeah.
But it's a whole little parody thing. We'll work on it. I'll tell you more about that later. But wow, thank you so much for putting that dedication and level of production into into that. We're looking forward to seeing that next.
All good.
Coming up. It's going to be awesome.
I have a small suggestion. Maybe if you as you watch the video, because you receive it probably before the audience sees it, maybe you record yourself while watching it. Or make an edit out of it. Maybe it's something you can work with.
That would be interesting. Let's talk about that off camera.
Cool.
I got an idea for that. That would be awesome. I mean, that's like I said, this is going to be a treat. When I actually had to ask Katrina the other day when you shared the video, said, I took a screenshot of it and I put that on and I shared that. And then I said, can I have permission to share this video or do you want anything behind the scenes going on? She just says, yeah, go ahead. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll do that. So I'm going to definitely include that with the interview as well when I send this out because I can't wait to see it. And thank you so much for doing that. And by the way, who does take or make your photos and videos? Because I don't see a lot of this going on.
My wife, aka my manager Katrina, is doing a lot for me. I also have some, how you say that, tripods setting up sometimes.
Okay.
I love to have it quite professionally. If you looked very closely to my socials, you see a big guy standing with a big belly, and I'm laying there. That's stuff. You have to check it out if you watch my socials. There is some fun stuff in there as well. It doesn't need all to be perfect, if you know what I mean, because then you get bored as well. So, but she does a lot for me. That's freaking awesome. I really appreciate that on her.
Awesome. And I was going to say a few more questions before we let you get going here. Cool. One major question for my final 2: chopsticks, forks, or fingers?
Chopsticks.
Chopsticks. Why would it be chopsticks?
I like Asian food a lot. I make my own sushi. I love to cook, so that's the main reason. And we're making sushi for 12 to 14 years now. I'm not gonna say it's better than a restaurant, but for me, it's better than in a restaurant. So chopsticks it is, definitely.
Awesome. Well, I came across a picture and you had some chopsticks up and we were talking about the miso soup that I made earlier. You mentioned about the sushi that I had with it that is not standard. Don't get it from the store, make it yourself. I actually have an H Mart right down the street from me. But we have a whole international district I can go get fish from anytime. So I'm going to look into that because I do love sushi. Sashimi is actually my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
To get it. I love sashimi. But we were talking earlier and I mentioned I was going to talk about this miso soup that I made last night for dinner. It had, miso soup base. I put like 6 different types of seafood in it. You know, clams, oysters, octopus, crab, all that fun stuff. Seaweed, of course. Black fungus, mushroom fungus.
Mushrooms, yeah.
Enoki mushrooms, tofu in it. I put shiitake mushrooms, big old shiitake mushroom caps about this big. Put them in there.
Good.
Let it simmer on the stove, go and everything. It was just came out so bomb. It was amazing. So,
I can imagine.
And obviously ate it with chopsticks.
Of course, you have to.
I got my special soup spoon that I had to go buy. I had to go to Melville stores and find my special soup spoon that I don't even have it. Where?
Do you have a long one or which a long?
It's a small one. It's a small one.
This one's good.
Small soup ones. Had to get one of those. Took forever to find them, but I'm definitely a foodie. You'll see that on our TikTok. You'll see that sometimes come through on our Instagram. What gets shared to Instagram on our DJ sessions that are food pics or stuff that comes from TikTok. I'm still working out how to get into the TikTok world in that sense of things, but food is where my heart is. It'll definitely get to it'll go through my stomach to get to my heart. You know,
definitely.
So
I get it.
On that note, Sebastian, is there anything else you want to let our DJ sessions fans know about?
That's a hard one. I think we covered a lot of ground already.
We did.
I think there's one thing I wanted to say about the whole mountain set. There are 4 or 5 unreleased tracks in there, which I think I'm very proud of, and I think it's very cool that I'm finally able to play them live without an audience, but at least to play them for your audience and for the DJ sessions audience. And that's why I put all my new music in there. So I think that's a very good one to get. There's a new release coming up next month, exactly 1 month from now, probably on Armada Records, if the contract is right. For East and Young, I don't know if you know those guys. They recently released a remix of David Guetta and Galantis. Okay. So they're doing very well, and now I remixed them, so that's very nice. So, and what I have left to share. No, I think we covered a lot of ground, and let's see what the future will bring. That's
absolutely, and we'll definitely be in contact with you. I mean, this set very anticipated. We're gonna have a fun time watching it. Put it together. We'll let you know when it's going to come out and air here soon, because this interview will go out before the set comes out, but we'll get everyone watching the interview before the set too. So it'll be awesome. And where can people find out more information about you and what you got going on? They want to follow you.
Everything on socials. Instagram is Sebastian Bronk. Facebook is Sebastian Bronk Official. I think everything is Sebastian Bronk. Only Facebook is Sebastian Bronk Official, because that was not free anymore. And SoundCloud, Spotify. I'm almost everywhere. I'm not that good in the whole TikTok situation yet, but maybe I'll join you in the foodie stuff.
We'll chat. We'll tag each other. We'll go back and forth like food bros. You know, what's up, Sebastian? What's up, Darren? What's up, Sebastian?
The food DJ sessions. Let's do something like that.
Okay. You don't want to get a guy like me started, because I'm the guy who, okay. We have a series called the DJ Sessions Beats and Eats, where we actually bring in, the theory is we bring in chefs from around our local area, and it's a 4-hour show, and every hour on the hour, the chef prepares, they prepare an appetizer, they prepare a soup salad, they prepare an entree, and then they prepare a dessert, and we invite everyone to a very awesome location, and they're part of the show in the audience, and we have cameras in the kitchen watching the chef prepare. We talk about it at the top of every hour, and then the audience gets to eat the food as it's coming out, and the DJs are playing in the background while the chef's doing all the prep. We got that already lined up.
Freaking awesome.
Got a lot of you give a guy like me an idea like that, it's like, of course, it's the DJ Sessions Beats and Eats. What are we going to do? We got beats and eats. Come on by this ripped up party. You know, and from top quality chefs. So yes, that's already in the works, but I would love to stay in contact with you. We'll be reaching out to you all year long, staying in contact with what Sebastian Bronk is up to. Good. Can't wait to see this set coming out. Thank you so much and you and your team and the team at the mountain and for putting that together and making that happen. I can't wait to see it.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for
You're
having
very
me.
welcome. On that note, don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. Find us on Twitter, find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook, The DJ Sessions. Hashtag us, find us on TikTok. This is Darren and Sebastian Bronk coming to you all the way. He's in Austria. I'm in Seattle. And this is the DJ Sessions presents the virtual sessions. And you know what happens on the DJ Sessions? The music never stops.